Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. A group of senators have unveiled a bipartisan measure to prevent people on the FBI's terrorism watch list from purchasing guns. The move comes one day after the Senate failed to pass 4 separate gun control measures in the wake of the massacre of 49 people at a gay nightclub in Orlando, Florida. None of the measures would have banned assault-style rifles like the ones used in Orlando, at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut, at the movie theater in Aurora, Colorado, or in San Bernardino, California. The new measure, led by Maine Republican Senator Susan Collins, would let the Attorney General block gun purchases by people on the no-fly list or a selectee list of people subjected to extra airport screening. The ACLU has warned against crafting gun reform that relies on, quote, our nation's error-prone and unfair watch listing system. 20 people were arrested Tuesday after staging a die-in and blocking the driveway to the National Rifle Association's headquarters in Fairfax, Virginia. About 100 people held an overnight vigil to mourn the Orlando victims and call for a ban on military-style assault weapons. Medea Benjamin, head of the group Code Pink, denounced Congress's failure to pass gun control.
Our democracy is broken, just like our gun laws are broken, just like our hearts are broken, just like our lives are broken. If we had a real democracy, we would have had those laws passed yesterday.
3 people have been arrested with a cache of weapons after police pulled them over for a cracked windshield near the Holland Tunnel in New York, which connects New Jersey and New York City. Police recovered 5 pistols, an AR-15 assault rifle, and a 12-gauge shotgun. Authorities said the suspects were gun enthusiasts with no known link to terrorism. New York State has a ban on assault weapons, which withstood a challenge at the Supreme Court on Monday. A man who claims he was the lover of Orlando shooter Omar Mateen has told Univision he believes Mateen committed the shooting for revenge, not terrorism. The man, who wore a disguise and called himself Miguel, said Mateen bore a grudge against Puerto Rican gay men, including one who revealed he was HIV positive following a sexual encounter with Mateen.
I believe, and I really think, all his angers, he hates gay Puerto Ricans for all the bad things they do to him. And this is sound bad, and I know a lot of people going to get a lot of pain for what I'm going to say, but I believe this crazy, horrible thing he did, there was a revenge.
Attorney General Loretta Lynch says investigators may never identify a single motive in the Orlando massacre, called both an act of terror and hate. After meeting with relatives of the victims in Orlando, Lynch expressed solidarity with the LGBT community.
And let me say to our LGBT friends and family, particularly to anyone who might view this tragedy as an indication that their identities, that their essential selves might somehow be better left unexpressed or in the shadows. This Department of Justice and your country stands with you in the light.
Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's attacked Republican rival Donald Trump's economic policies and record of profiting off his company's bankruptcies. Speaking in Columbus, Ohio, Clinton said Trump would be dangerous to the U.S. economy.
Ronald Reagan said it. He said, "We have a well-earned reputation for reliability and credibility, 2 things that set us apart from much of the world." Now, maybe Donald feels differently because he made a fortune filing bankruptcies and stiffing his creditors. I'll get to his business practices in a minute. But the United States of America doesn't do business Trump's way.
Donald Trump, meanwhile, has said he'll offset a fundraising deficit with Clinton using his, quote, unlimited personal wealth. His remarks come amid reports Trump's campaign had only $1.3 million in cash on hand at the end of May compared to Clinton's $42 million. Speaking to CBS News, Trump accused Clinton of raising blood money.
I don't want to devote the rest of my life to raising money from people. And, you know, when she raises this money, every time she raises money, she's making deals. They're saying, could I be the ambassador to this? Could I do that? Make sure my business is taken care of. I mean, give me a break. All of the money she's raising, that's blood money. That's blood money. Look, she's getting tremendous amounts of money from Wall Street. She's going to take care of Wall Street. She's getting tremendous amounts of money from lots of people. She's going to take care of all those people.
New records show Donald Trump has directed nearly a fifth of his campaign cash to companies in his business empire. Trump has said he will deliver a major address against Clinton today at his Soho Trump property. In California, 2 wildfires have burned about 5,000 acres of terrain and are threatening to merge in the mountains outside Los Angeles. Firefighters said they're short-staffed because people have been sent to fight other fires burning in different parts of California. U.S. Forest Service Fire Chief Robert Garcia gave an update on the fish and reservoir fires, which have forced hundreds to evacuate.
Both are continuing to burn in the Angeles National Forest and San Gabriel Mountains National Monument in very steep, rugged terrain, in old fuel beds, as we would describe it, areas of the forest that have not burned in quite a number of years.
Meanwhile, in Arizona, Governor Doug Ducey has declared a state of emergency in Navajo County, where firefighters are battling a blaze that has grown to more than 40,000 acres. The fires have been fueled by record-shattering heat, the latest sign of human-caused climate change. A former Honduran soldier says murdered environmentalist Berta Caceres appeared on a hit list distributed to U.S.-trained special forces in Honduras months before she was assassinated. First Sergeant Rodrigo Cruz told The Guardian he's 100% certain that Berta Caceres was killed by the Army. Caceres was an indigenous Lenca leader who won the prestigious Goldman Environmental Prize for her fight against the Agua Zarca Dam. She was shot to death March 3rd at her home in La Esperanza, Honduras. Cruz said Caceres' name was on a list distributed to a military police unit in the Interinstitutional Security Force, or FUSINA, which received training from 300 U.S. Marines and FBI agents last year. 5 people have been arrested for Caceres' murder, including an active-duty Honduran Army major. Meanwhile, a new report finds last year was the deadliest on record for environmentalists. The group Global Witness says 185 environmental activists were killed last year, a 60% increase over the previous year. 50 of them were killed in Brazil alone, where the Summer Olympics are set to take place in August. The Israeli military says its soldiers shot and killed a 15-year-old Palestinian boy and wounded 4 other people by mistake. Mahmoud Rafat Badaran was killed while he and his family were driving home from a swimming pool. The military said soldiers mistakenly believed he'd been throwing stones in an earlier incident. Federal prosecutors say they will not charge 3 police officers in Pasco, Washington, for the fatal shooting of Mexican farm worker Antonio Zambrano-Montes. Police fired 17 shots at him, accusing him of throwing stones at them. Cell phone video appears to show Zambrano-Montes running across an intersection, turning to face police, and raising his hands before he shot. But U.S. Attorney Michael Ornsby said there was insufficient evidence the officers violated Zambrano-Montes' civil rights. His family has filed a lawsuit in federal court. In Turkey, press freedom advocates rallied Tuesday to protest the arrest of the 2 journalists and an academic on accusations of disseminating terrorist propaganda. Among those arrested was the head of the local Reporters Without Borders chapter. The 3 had taken part in a solidarity campaign for the pro-Kurdish newspaper Özgürlüğüm. The husband of slain British Labour Party lawmaker Joe Cox says he believes she was killed for her political views. Cox was stabbed and shot to death Thursday, allegedly by Thomas Mayer, who had ties to the neo-Nazi National Alliance and attended a meeting of British white supremacists organized by an FBI informant in 2000. Brendan Cox said his late wife worried about the direction of global politics.
I think she worried that we were entering an age that we haven't seen maybe since the 1930s of people feeling insecure for lots of different reasons, for economic reasons or security reasons, and then populist politicians, whether that's Trump in the US or whoever else, exploiting that and driving communities to hate each other. saying that the reason that you don't have a job or the reason that you're feeling insecure is because of this powerless person, not because of choices that we're making, and that was driving people. It was creating an atmosphere of hatred.
That's Joe Cox's husband. Later in the broadcast, we'll speak with the FBI informant who organized the meeting in London of British white supremacists who met Thomas Mayer then. And a new lawsuit accuses a judge in the city court in Bogalusa, Louisiana, of running a modern-day debtor's prison. The Southern Poverty Law Center says Judge Robert J. Black routinely orders people to jail for failing to pay fines for minor offenses like traffic violations and charges them so-called extension fees to avoid jail time. In one case, a man found guilty of stealing $5 worth of food to feed his family was ordered to pay a $450 fine, then jailed for 4 hours when he couldn't pay the $50 extension fee. The Federal Aviation Administration has issued new rules to allow corporations to fly drones. The rules allow commercial drones to fly up to 400 feet in the air during daytime hours. The drones must be kept within sight, precluding, for now, the proposed use of delivery drones by companies like Google and Amazon. Despite concerns, the rules do not include regulations on privacy. Meanwhile, in Ireland, pro-choice activists flew a drone into Northern Ireland carrying a different cargo, pills that induce abortion. The action was aimed at highlighting strict anti-choice laws in both Northern Ireland and the Irish Republic. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.
And I'm Juan Gonzalez. Welcome to all of our listeners and viewers around the country and around the world.